Minister Goyal, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, sir.
So we are meeting in the context of the EU-India trade deal and maybe future prospective trade deals. I'll start with the EU-India trade deal, the FTA. It has been described as a mother of all deals by you, by the Prime Minister, by the EU itself. Now, tell me, is the mother going to be a strict mother, or is she going to be a lenient mother for the Indian exporters? Because the challenges they will face in Europe when they export their goods is not going to be easy.
Well, European Union has certain regulations, just like India has regulations. They have standards, we have standards. Every country prepares for their own people a set of safety and environmental standards and things like quality standards. And I think we should respect that. We already have a $75 billion export to European Union. We have a trade surplus with them. We are serving services, we are exporting worth 46 billion every year. Again, a trade surplus there. So I think meeting standards is not our challenge. Indians have the capability, we have the wherewithal, we have the knowledge, capabilities, and all we need to do is expand capacities. We need to invest more. We need to get out of the cozy comfort of this large, huge domestic market and look for outward markets, which we are opening up through these various trade deals, particularly in developed nations, where you get a good price, where there's no competition, because we are largely exporting labor-oriented goods and services. They are largely exporting high innovative products which are needed by India in its development cycle. So we actually complement each other. And therefore, this mother is neither going to be strict nor lenient. This mother is going to be compassionate. This mother is going to be loving. And this mother is going to make sure that both its children, or may for that matter, the 27 nations of Europe and India, all 28 children will enjoy the fruits of this free trade agreement.
Wonderful. Now, you said India exports about $76 billion worth of goods to Europe. That accounts for, I think, 17% of our total exports. That's not a very large number. It's reasonably good. This FTA, how do you project that 17% to grow? Do you expect it to double maybe in 5 years?
Easily. I'm very confident this will double in 5 years, and I'll explain why. All these years, you must have heard that we used to always crib that Bangladesh sells $30 billion of textiles to Europe. Vietnam sells twice as much as we do. Why can't India export more? But the logic was simple. We were paying 9 to 12% duties. Bangladesh had zero duty, being a less developed country. Vietnam had an FTA with EU, so they were not paying any duties. Now, as soon as this agreement comes into effect later this year, from day one, we will have zero duty on all textile products. Now, can you imagine what a big fillip this can give just to one sector alone? Similarly, leather goods, sportswear, toys, marine products, agricultural and processed foods. There's 99% of our exports to European Union are now going to be at zero duty. It's up to our industry to seize the moment, and I see tremendous potential going forward.
So easily 35 to 40% of our total trade will in 5 years, you're saying?
Growth?
Yes.
No, I could easily see doubling.
Doubling of the trade. So the total percentage of our trade to Europe will be about...
No, but I will also double the trade with other countries. So not necessarily the 17% will become 35, but the absolute number of export we want to see growing all across the world.
That's great. What about Indian businesses which will face competition from European goods which are going to come into at 0%?
Well, we've done a very careful assessment, and we've also engaged with the industry extensively before we've closed this deal. You'll recognize that our per capita income is under $3,000. Their per capita income is just about $50,000. Now, this is chalk and cheese. There's hardly anything that we compete in. There's hardly anything that we make that they can make cheaper than us. Particularly now that India has good quality products, high quality products. But the products that they make well, let's say a cancer drug, we don't have it as yet in India. They may be making it in Europe. Now, if that becomes duty-free, I think it's good for our cancer patients, good for our health industry or pharma industry. If they make some very high-quality medical devices that we don't make in India, and if we can get that duty-free, I think that will be good for the country. Yeah. So it's a very calibrated opening. Wherever there could be a potential for competition going forward as we also go up the development cycle, we've kept longer transition period for Indian industry to be competitive. But end of the day, bear in mind that while we have business to look after, we also have 140 crore consumers to look after. We cannot make everything costly for our consumers. They are the largest stakeholder for that matter. So it's a very fine balance one has to create and develop, particularly where there's fair play, where there's no predatory pricing or dumping of overcapacity in your economy. I think equal opportunities on both sides will ensure that Indian efficiency improves, Indian productivity improves, and Indian consumers get a good deal.
So that's the fundamental raison d'etre of any free trade, that the consumer should benefit, right? So you're saying that there is no need for our bakers, confectioners, or fruit juice makers, or processed meat producers to worry?
On the contrary, I would urge all of them to start looking at the high-paying, large European market. We should now look at our people growing. And you know, we've even amended the MSME definitions so that people are not forced to stay small. They can aspire to grow big, and export sales are kept out of MSME definition. Idea is to encourage our MSMEs to grow big and explore the world markets.
Do you expect some hand-holding or some help for our MSMEs to compete?
We have been continuously supporting MSMEs through a variety of programs and initiatives. Prime Minister Narendra Modi from day one has been very conscious of the importance of MSMEs. If you recall, even the Mudra loan was trying to help our MSMEs come into the formal structure, so much so that even hawkers have been under his care through the Swanidhi Yojana. He's ensured that people can get out of the moneylenders' clutches and can become a part of the formal banking system. They can get money at very, very affordable, low interest rates. And at the same time, he strengthened the banking system so that interest rates are moderate in India.
I know you said that the FTA the mother is going to be a very compassionate mother, but there is one concern about CBAM. CBAM is about the carbon border adjustment mechanism. How do you foresee that playing out in the next?
Well, first of all, it must be noted that CBAM applies to everybody. All domestic producers in Europe also have to pay the same taxes as people who export to Europe. So first of all, it's non-discriminatory. You could almost consider it like a GST. Like we have GST on domestic as well as on imports. They have a CBAM on everybody. So it's not a discriminatory tax, point one. Point two, they have agreed to approve verifiers in India so that our exporters don't have to go to Europe for verification of their carbon footprint. And that will save a lot of cost thanks to the FTA. And our people can get products certified and sell to Europe. Third, taxes paid in India for carbon will also be recognized and offset against the CBAM payable. Fourth, one must bear in mind that going forward, India itself is a global responsible citizen who is greening its economy, who's at the forefront of this fight against climate change. We are decarbonizing our own economy at a very fast pace. We are amongst the world's best performing countries when it comes to meeting the Paris COP21 intended nationally determined contributions. In INDC, we are well ahead of schedule. Our renewable energy target we met 8 years before schedule. Now we have a 500 gigawatt target by 2030, which is unimaginable for the developed world. In the G20, we are amongst the top 3 countries in our performance. The European Union also recognizes that. And they have, in fact, even I think they have announced a 500 million euro grant to support our decarbonization efforts during this visit. They have also said they'd like to grow this in recognition of India's good performance transitioning to a cleaner and greener economy. Also, there's huge potential for our green hydrogen, green ammonia, our solar equipment, our wind equipment to sell in European Union. So effectively, this is opening the doors, even on the environment front, to greater collaboration and greater partnerships. And I see a win-win in this. I was talking to some steel manufacturers. They're themselves going green so fast and they're so efficient. Some of our steel mills are the world's most efficient plants.
Some of them are.
Some of them are, and they're going green very fast. So with that green steel, both they will be able to export and they will be able to supply to our engineering industry to export to Europe. And then we'll have a competitive advantage. So European mills may be paying more CBAM than the Indians will have to pay.
But I'll push back a little bit on that. On an average, I think the Indian steel is much more carbon intensive than the global average. It's about 30-40% more. So will that not be a challenge?
Two things in this. A, even without the FTA, it was there. So FTA is not in any case making it worse. B, FTA is providing all these additional safeguards of verifiers being here, a rapid response mechanism if we feel we are being discriminated or it's hurting our exports in any way, or any new sectors come in, we can talk to Europe and rebalance to make sure our new exports, other exporters don't get hurt, or benefits of FTA don't get hurt. And lastly, FTA is about the future, as I said earlier. We may be today 30-40% more carbon intensive, but the speed at which we are going green is so fast that the same thing can become a competitive advantage for our manufacturers going forward. And if Europe goes by the Draghi report, the former Prime Minister of Italy has come out with a study how these regulations and many of their complexities in Europe are hurting Europe itself. Their infrastructure is getting costlier, their housing is getting costlier, their cars are getting costlier, their manufacturers are suffering. You may actually find they'll have to start looking at simplification in a big way. And at that point of time, we would already have an FTA and will hugely benefit from every simplification. We also have a forward MFN.
Right.
So whatever they give to any other country, we have an automatic right to that, which we wouldn't have without the FTA.
Of course. I have just one more question on the FTA and then we'll move on to other subjects. How will you measure the success of the FTA, 4 or 5 years down the line? You have already mentioned that the trade will increase, will double in 5 years. Are there other parameters?
FTA is not only about trade in goods and services. An FTA provides stability, predictability, clarity in engagement between two countries. It gives opportunities for mobility. And we have a commitment in the FTA that all our students, we have 121,000 students today, we expect that to grow. Will get a 9-month work visa in which they can find work and then legally work in the European Union. We have a mobility partnership that we have also executed simultaneously. We have a defense and strategic partnership. And Europe is going to invest $800 billion in the next 5 years on defense. They cannot manufacture all of that themselves. They don't even have the labor. They'll either need labor from India, skilled labor, talent, or they'll bring their technologies to India, manufacture in India, for Europe, for the rest of the world. So this will open up a very comprehensive, multifarious dimension between the two countries. And stability and predictability naturally attract investors towards you. That they know that, things are going to be good, the relations are good, policies are going to be stable. And I think this agreement will have so many dimensions on which we will measure it 5 years from now. And positively, both sides will emerge winners.
So on a balance sheet, it looks like this is going to be a huge advantage for India in every respect. Why did it take us so long to reach this point?
That's because the Congress party, which started negotiations 20 years ago, was weak-kneed. They could not visualize the potential advantages and benefits as they should have. They could not negotiate from a position of strength because they had driven the Indian economy to becoming a fragile five economy. They could not have the confidence or courage of conviction that India will become a $30 trillion economy or the world's third largest economy. I mean, just to tell you, give you context, Mr. P. Chidambaram in 2014, in his last budget speech, and thank God it was the last budget speech of the Congress, and I don't see that coming back for a long number of years, he had said that India will take 30 years to become the third largest economy in 14. That means he predicted India to be a third largest economy in 2044. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with his good policies, well-meaning intentions, is going to make India the third largest economy in the next 2 years. A good 16 years before the Congress was projecting. Prime Minister Modi used the first few years of his government to bring strong macroeconomic fundamentals to the economy. Strong banking system, strong forex reserves, high growth, fastest growing large economy, low inflation. Look at our levels of inflation. Could you imagine a Congress government having 1.3, 2, 3% inflation? It's impossible because their whole thinking was very, very poor in terms of good economics. Corruption, scandals, uncertainty in policy. A person who was asking me questions on the EU FTA sat on environment files for 4 years, killed the growth story of India, killed projects, made huge overruns. Because of it, the banking sector became a mess with double-digit NPAs and evergreen loans, all of which we have had to set right under the Modi government. But having done that, today India aspires to be a $30 trillion economy in 2047. We aspire to be a developed nation. And it is that story of $30 trillion economy that is today our negotiating tool when we negotiate FTAs with other countries.
So the mother of all trade deals is in the bag. When is the father of all trade deals going to be a reality? I'm talking about the US FTA.
Every free trade agreement stands on its own legs. And we are having very good negotiations. My counterpart in the US and I have a wonderful working relationship and a wonderful personal friendship. We are working towards closing the deal quickly. Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable President Trump share a very good friendship, which is on record. And I'm very confident you will hear good news in the near future.
This year, by the end of this year?
Well, I have always said that trade deals are never negotiated with a deadline. It will happen at the right time and in the interests of both countries.
So how do you see the global trade evolving in the future now that tariffs are being weaponized by the United States?
Well, I would not like to comment on any particular country. I can only say this, that despite all the doomsday protagonists or the naysayers, world trade continues to labor on. We are all working in a rules-based trading environment. I personally am very, very bullish and very confident that international trade will continue to grow and India will be at the forefront in the years to come.
Well, one of the irritants in our relations with the United States is our purchase of Russian oil. How do you see that?
I don't think that's an irritant. There could have been some misunderstandings which have largely been resolved.
Okay. What other trade deals are we planning now? We already have with Mauritius, Australia, UAE, Oman, FTA bloc, UK, New Zealand, and the EU. Canada, Chile, and Peru remain.
We've done 8 free trade agreements covering 37 developed countries in the last few years under the Modi government. We are in active dialogue, almost close to conclusion, with Chile, where we have interests particularly in critical minerals. We are talking to Peru. We have already started a dialogue with the Mercosur countries to expand our current PTA. The GCC countries, the 6-nation Middle Eastern bloc, has expressed a desire to start and launch negotiations. We finalized terms of reference with them. Canada and India are actively talking. In fact, I had a call with the minister and my good friend Maninder only last night. We are going to quickly start negotiations with Canada. We are also renegotiating the trade deal with the ASEAN region. There's a possibility we'll talk to SACU, the South African-led union, to consider whether we could look at a trade deal with the South African nations. So a lot of potential trade deals on the anvil. We'll certainly be hearing many more good news and making India an international player, a global player of significance in the years to come.
So, given the current global economic situation, and it's a little bit uncertain because of the way the United States has been conducting its trade diplomacy, how confident are you that India will be able to achieve a $2 trillion in exports by 2030, let's say?
I had certainly set that target a few years ago. But as you're aware, we lost at least 2.5 years in COVID. And that did set us back quite a bit. After that, there has been turbulence and volatility in the global trading order, which also seems to be gradually settling down. So we are persevering towards a $2 trillion export target. May not necessarily happen by 2030, but I'm very confident if we add the COVID lost years, we'll be able to achieve that target.
So let's say 2032?
Around
that
time.
Okay. Now let's move to politics, which both you and I love. You have been appointed in charge of Tamil Nadu. It's not going to be easy. How are you going to deal with that challenge?
I'm not so sure that it won't be easy. There's so much anti-incumbency against the DMK government. It's an incompetent government, terribly corrupt government. Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin represents a totally anti-Tamil culture and anti-India stance.
Anti-Tamil culture?
Yes, because Tamil culture never talked in the kind of language that he is using. Tamil culture teaches us tolerance. Tamil culture teaches us celebrating different viewpoints, different thinking, different ideologies, different religions. And I think what Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin has articulated over the last few years, and the amount of corruption we hear about, the way they have let down the women of Tamil Nadu. Let me give you a simple example. It may seem small, but it reflects the culture of this government and the thinking of this government, the pettiness of this government. They used to give a gift to the people of Tamil Nadu on Pongal, which is very welcome. I think it's a good idea. But last year they did not give it. Why? Because it was not an election year. This year they gave it because it was an election year. Now that is, to my mind, very petty thinking.
To your mind it is. Is it petty for the voters?
Certainly, because they deserved to get it last year also. Why did they not get it last year? They also understand and see that this is a way to try and entice them on the eve of election. Because if their intention was pure, if it was genuinely a celebration of Pongal that they wanted to support the Tamil people, they would have done it last year also. Prime Minister Modi gives PM Kisan Samman 6,000 rupees honorarium every year, irrespective of whether there's an election year or no year. Even during COVID years, everybody got it. He supports with fertilizer subsidy running into lakhs of crores every year. He doesn't say, not an election year, let me increase the price of fertilizer. Prime Minister Modi never discriminates between people. He gives benefit to all, and he gives benefit irrespective of the time of the year or the period of elections. On the contrary, there are times where I have gone to him with some announcement or some suggestion which was close to an election. And I remember once I'd gone to him and said casually that, sir, this will help us in the election. And he looked up to me and he said, who told you that? I was taken aback. I said, that's my judgment that this will be great for the election. Just on that one mistake that I had done, he did not approve it till after the election. Because for him, we are here to serve 365 days a year for the long haul. Viksit Bharat 2047 is our goal, not an election. Elections will come and go. that does not influence government policy.
You seem to be very confident about doing well in Tamil Nadu. What chances are you giving for
It's a
BJP?
huge anti-incumbency against the DMK-led government. The discordant notes between their alliance partners are also visible. I'm very confident that the AIADMK-led NDA alliance, in which the BJP is an important partner, is going to win this election.
Will you also try to
And
bring...
will bring back good governance, which Jayalalitha ji had brought to Tamil Nadu. NDA will bring back that good governance of Jayalalitha ji to Tamil Nadu.
Before the elections, would you also want to woo actor Vijay, who's becoming a force? His father has said that he should join Congress.
Well, I don't know what impact it will have on the election. We have seen many film stars come and go. Having a fan following and converting that into vote is a totally different story. You need organization, you need the people's understanding and confidence in you as an administrator. We've seen many film stars. We've seen Mr. Kamal Hassan come.
And
he
go.
could have no impact. In Bihar, all of you thought a particular gentleman is going to be kingmaker and change
not a film
the
star,
equation. Well, he was almost like a rock star. All of you called him a rock star. Many newspapers and television channels really hyped up the story.
Yeah.
Neither did he get votes, nor did he get seats. My sense is he could cut the votes of the DMK a little bit, but beyond that, I don't see much impact. Our voter base of the NDA remain intact, and we will form the government in Tamil Nadu.
So the BJP has no intention of bringing him to the fold.
To the best of my knowledge, we have not even had any discussions.
On the film star, the South is a little bit different than other states. You had MGR, you had Jayalalitha, you had NTR.
You are such an experienced veteran in this field. MGR was many years in public life before his foray to become a chief minister. Jayalalitha ji was under the tutelage of MGR for decades before she became chief minister. But upstarts like Mr. Kamal Hassan came and turned out to be a rocket that never launched. And of course, they have as their partner the Congress, which we are all aware is a rocket that fails to launch despite several launches.
3 other states are going to elections. You got Assam, you got West Bengal and Kerala as well. What are the chances of the 4 states, you would say?
Well, Assam,
BJP
we will
chances.
certainly be repeating the government. Everybody is in agreement on that. West Bengal this time is up for change. The governance of West Bengal has, I think, reached the lowest levels that it could. The people of West Bengal are suffering. The people of West Bengal have seen through the misgovernance of the Trinamool Congress and Mamta Didi, and I see no way that they're going to vote her back into government. In Kerala, we have for the first time formed our first municipal corporation in Thiruvananthapuram, and I'm quite confident we'll play a very important role going forward. We'll increase both our vote share and the number of seats that we will win this time, and are committed to strengthening our work in Kerala so that ultimately we form a government in Kerala too.
Finally, I want to touch upon the very tragic incident which led to the death of Ajit Pawar ji, and that has caused a ripple effect in Maharashtra politics. Sunetra Pawar is going to become the deputy chief minister. What was the haste, you think? Was it so necessary to make her the deputy chief minister so quickly? What was the reason?
We have an alliance with the NCP, the Mahayuti, and the members of the NCP, the MLAs of the NCP met and elected her as the leader of the party. We welcome that and wish Mrs. Pawar all the very best in her foray, in her work as deputy chief minister. I'm sure she will do well. She's a very compassionate person. I've seen her in the Rajya Sabha and in her own area in Baramati serving the people very admirably. Of course, we'll miss my friend Ajit Dada a lot. He was a great administrator, a people's leader, the darling of the people of Maharashtra, and certainly he leaves behind a big void. My condolences to the family, And my best wishes to Sunitra Vahini, for a very successful tenure.
There's one more dimension to this. Before the tragedy, there was talk of the two NCP factions coming together, and that's probably going to happen very soon. How will that change Maharashtra politics?
I personally don't see that happening. I personally don't think that will happen. The NCP, as a part of Mahayuti, has performed very well. The leadership was with Ajit Pawar and now with Sunitra Pawarji. Praful Patel has been appointed national president of the NCP. I don't see Mr. Sharad Pawar being invited to join the NCP, given that he has lost the people's trust and the vote, despite coming together in Pimpri Chinchwad and Pune. We saw them being wiped out. If only Ajit Dada had aligned with the rest of the Mahayuti partners, he would have been a part of the Pimpri Chinchwad and Pune victory that the BJP celebrated. So I think joining hands with Sharad Pawar ji was a big mistake, and his party leaders now recognize and understand that.
But let's say that the Ajit faction does insist on a remerger, and if Sharad Pawarji does come, would that be a problem for BJP?
After seeing the results of the local body elections, where they were squarely wiped out because of Mr. Sharad Pawar's alliance, I personally don't even see that as a possibility. Look at the Congress. Wherever they ally with any party, that party gets wiped out. RJD lost the election. Every state in Maharashtra, they were in alliance with Sharad Pawarji and Uddhav Thackerji. They all three lost the election. I think the people have seen through such parties, and they don't have any popularity anymore.
Piyushji, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Vijayji. Delighted to be able to have this conversation.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.